It's Thursday, June 20th, Friday, June 21st, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the sunny mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can currently read up on the SOR Newswire, listen to the show live. We're adding more features as the Gavinator continues his major build. Tonight's show is brought to you by Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com and use promo code SOR2019 today. Dave Spinks has been investigating and researching the supernatural since 1986 due to several experiences he had as a young man. Since that time, he has conducted several hundred investigations across the country and in Europe. Dave served in the United States Air Force for 8 years and went on to work as a federal law enforcement officer before retiring in 2011. Having investigated strange phenomena for over 30 years, he has built up many friendships with some of the most well-known investigators in the field. David has been on various television shows, including Paranormal 911, The Unexplained, In Search of Monsters, and These Woods Are Haunted, just to name a few. He's also the author of topics that include cryptids, hauntings, and ufology. His first book, West Virginia Bigfoot, in 2018, and has been highly featured by David Weatherly in his Wood Knock series. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. David Spinks, been a while, my friend, since we had you on the air, but it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me again, Dave. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Dave, you mentioned in the intro that I read that you've been doing this for 33 years. That's a long time to be searching for answers, but it all started with one little incident. How about you fill in our listeners what that was that put you on this path?
Well, I mean, me and my grandfather were fishing at one of our favorite fishing spots here in West Virginia on the Gauley River, and had an encounter with what you can only describe as a Bigfoot back in 1983. And ever since that time, I've been pursuing answers as to what it was I saw that day. And over the years, back in those days, we didn't have internet. So over the years, I had to rely on newspaper articles, magazine articles. And then I came across this show In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. I saw a guy named Hans Holzer on there and realized, hey, there was people all over the world that were seeing these types of unknown creatures, and I wasn't crazy. And that's when, my life took a turn, and I started searching for answers myself, in the various aspects of the paranormal world, whether it be, cryptids, UFOs, and hauntings.
So when you started having that Bigfoot experience with your grandfather, what went through your mind as a young man beside a man who you probably absolutely idolized? That had to be terrifying at that young age.
Oh, yeah, it scared the living hell out of me. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it changed my life. I didn't go in the woods for many years after that. When you see something that big and that has that much power, and you know what you're looking at is real, but you don't know what it is, and you've never heard of anything like it before, it's traumatizing. It traumatized me. I had nightmares about it for years. And, when I saw my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, stormed the beaches of Normandy, the man wasn't afraid of anything. He was a medic of all things. So you can imagine what he saw and what he went through during the war. When you see him scared, then that's a whole nother ballgame right there, because if he's scared, I know I should be scared. And that was unnerving as all get out.
That had to be absolutely terrifying for you, but it all of a sudden also, in the same sense, sent you on a quest. You needed to know answers. You started researching a little bit. It led to paranormal, led to UFOs. When did it really pick up for you, the research?
I would say mostly, as a young man, you're limited on what you can do, but I was fascinated with anything that had to do with the unknown and the paranormal and supernatural, and I read whatever I could get my hands on in those days via the local libraries, and newspapers and different magazines. And, and then they started coming out with various television shows, like I said, In Search Of and Sightings and all these other shows. And it just gave you a little more information each time, wow, people are doing research on this topic and that topic. And I knew that, hey, if this many people are involved in it and they're doing all this on it, there's got to be something to all this. And then you start discovering, hey, there's thousands upon thousands of people that have reported seeing strange creatures, seeing unexplained lights in the sky, and having all these supernatural / paranormal encounters, and it just fascinated me to no end. But it was also, for my own sanity, I guess I had to know that I was not the only one, if that makes sense. I wanted to know answers to what it was I saw that day. And then over those years of researching and reading and starting to conduct some of my first trial investigations on family vacations and whatnot, trying to do my own EVPs and what I started, actually discovering things and getting EVPs, and it just drew me in more and more and more. And I was totally hooked on it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Dave, I want to ask you, after 33 years of investigating, do you feel any closer to any answers to these mysteries whatsoever? And if not, why keep going?
Well, I wouldn't say I feel closer to answers as to, per se, getting the all-knowing information we all seek doing this stuff. But, every EVP you get, every experience you have, every witness you interview, it just keeps me going, because when you look into people's faces and they're telling you the truth because they have something to lose by even sharing this story or this experience or this encounter they have, it just drives me forward, pushes me forward to keep going, and in the hopes of maybe one day, capturing that one piece of evidence that's without a doubt, the smoking gun, if you will.
Mm-hmm. So with that smoking gun, in your eyes, what would it be?
There could be various things, obviously having a entity or a spirit sit down and have a conversation with you on camera would be the ultimate, but who knows if that's ever going to happen, you know what I mean? Or capturing that piece of footage of an unknown cryptid, that's pretty much undeniable. But nowadays there's so many hoaxers, unfortunately, it makes it even harder for actual boots on the ground investigators such as myself and many others to, if you would happen to capture something like that, you would immediately, it would immediately be said to be, false, fake, phony, hoax, whatever. And you would have to go through, the whole process even further to prove it's real. But that's what we're here for. We want to have that. We welcome that. It's part of the field's debunking things. But, it is what it is.
Dave, our question for the night, and we're going to be bouncing around quite a bit, but our thought of the Dave today is, with all that's happening in ufology recently, has the paranormal and cryptid research really taken a fair back seat? Should we even care right now? Because everybody is talking about UFOs, aliens, government, disclosure, whatever it may be. We're not hearing a lot from the paranormal or cryptid world.
Well, obviously that is a huge, huge topic, to finally know one of man's greatest questions, are we alone in the universe? Obviously that's going to be first and foremost right now at the particular moment. But having said that, there's other people that, they don't focus on ufology. They focus on their particular genre. Some people are specialized in one field and that's it. And that's all they're going to do regardless of what's going on. So I don't think it's necessarily taking a backseat, maybe in the news per se, maybe in the, the internet podcast, it might be taking a small backseat right now, but I don't think it's doing that much, I don't think it's putting it that far in the background per se. I mean, people are still going to talk about what they are doing and what their particular interests and fields are.
Out of the three, UFOs, if we include aliens with that, ghosts and cryptids, what do you prefer to be going for? What do you prefer to be seeking?
Well, that's a good question. For me, I love all of it. Obviously, and in my take on some of these things is I believe some of it's interconnected in some ways. I think if there is intelligent ETs visiting us, I think they can exuberate different things upon us, whether it be mind control, making us see things that aren't really there. You know, there's a lot of talk in recent times of that people believing that these ETs that are visiting us are putting some type of images in our head in, you know, so to speak, like the known type drawings of demons, making us think we're seeing people, not us, but people seeing demons. And it's in all actuality, these grays that are manipulating the minds of humans and all these different theories that are out there. But I mean, my God, if we could answer that question without a doubt, hey, you know, there's other intelligent life forms that are visiting us, that would be, I mean, the icing on cherry on the cake, I think.
Well,
that opens
well, it does open up a big bowl and a big can of worms right there, because I do believe, as I said on this show, next to Jesus Christ coming down from the heavens above once again, that UFOs and extraterrestrial life are the second biggest story in mankind's history.
Absolutely.
But I will also agree with you on this point, too. Very few researchers are actually looking for any correlation between the paranormal ghost realm, cryptid realm, and the UFO realm. You're one of the few people who actually believes this, along with a good friend of yours and mine and a mentor of mine, David Weatherly, believes that as well, same as John Tenney. Why do you feel there is some connection between all of this?
Well, you know, over so many years, you come across these encounters and these reports by many people. And what we're seeing a lot of is that, give you one example is, say a person is in his backyard, sees what he calls a Bigfoot, and then shortly thereafter he sees unexplained lights in the skies, or vice versa. They see unexplained lights in the skies, and then they see what appears to be a Bigfoot-type creature, you know, loping along, or they see it, or whatever the case may be. And then you have what I talked about just a minute ago with people saying that, you know, they believe that these ETs are planting images of demonic type creatures in their brains and controlling them, you know, in that manner, or making them do things they don't want to do. And we refer to that out of the Bible as being demonically possessed, or whatever the case may be. So if you take into a lot of these accounts, you have to, you know, as an investigator, you have to step outside the box and look at it from all aspects, because we just don't have enough answers at this point. You have to, as being a good investigator, to do that. You have to, you know, take a step back and don't see things through tunnel vision, have an open mind, and look at all these reports, interview people, you know, and, you know, some of it's very, very eye-opening.
Absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. And with the different ways of investigation and so many people breaking down investigation into the smallest sorts, it's very hard to get a lot of people on that same bandwagon. But do you believe the attitude is starting to change there, as there seems to be very big parallels between the three that I don't think is too much of a coincidence?
No, and you're right. I mean, you got to look at those parallels. You got to look at the eyewitness account and the whole, and, you know, the whole ball of wax, so to speak, again. I mean, you have to think outside the box, because a lot of this stuff is correlating in these eyewitness accounts and reports of what people have experienced or seen. And I think the more people talk about it, maybe it will open up some minds. Of course, it wasn't that long ago. If you were studying Bigfoot, or you're in the cryptid field, you couldn't talk about say Bigfoot and UFOs in the same sentence, you would be laughed out of the room, or you would be ousted, so to speak, in one or both of the various genres, because if you're a Bigfooter, you're a Bigfooter. If you're a ufologist, you're a ufologist. But now, there is some crossover happening. I would like to see more of it, but it just got. I think time will tell when that comes out.
So with that thread that is connecting the three, David, let's go in a little bit more in depth in that. What similarities have you found between the three that has caught your attention? Well,
and like I said, some of the investigations and interviews I've done with I'm going to call some of them victims, because that's what they are. These people that are claiming to have been abducted by grays and whatnot. They've also reported having seen these vivid dreams of demonic-looking characters. Their bodies being some of their bodies have been scratched and just injured severely. And other types of situations like that. And if you take that into account, you got to think about this, and say, are these grays, implanting these visions and these things in these people's minds to hide their identity, and making these people think that they're seeing the devil or demons or whatever the case, and actually physically marking these people. And some of these abduction cases, these people's bodies have been through the ringer. I've seen some pictures that would blow your mind from various friends of mine that are ufologists and whatnot. And, we're trying to take a hard look at this, and we're trying to pick their interviews apart and see if we can separate the two incidents that they have been claiming to have experienced as either demonic in nature or an actual abduction scenario, So, it's pretty compelling stuff. There's a lot of work to be done in it, with it, and further study and research to be done with it.
How do we take that research to the next level, Dave?
Well, that's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? Where are we at? As far as ufology goes, barring full disclosure, we're still where we're at back in 1947 in a lot of ways, other than many, many people demanding disclosure from the U.S. government. Now, finally, we're having more and more high-ranking military officials, high-ranking government officials, and others coming forward, releasing information. And some of it's very eye-opening. Now, having said that, in the paranormal world, we've got some technological advances with some equipment, that's being utilized for certain types of paranormal investigation, but you have to be able to think outside the box as an investigator. You have to take stuff out of your toolbox, use multiple pieces of equipment, and try to formulate theories as to what you're getting at any particular moment with various types of equipment, and verifying that, it's real, you can't debunk it, and it's really of paranormal nature. And the thing is, we're still not that far along compared to 100 years ago, when people were conducting seances and whatnot. But technology has given us some tools that we can better document paranormal evidence, such as video cameras, thermal cameras, full spectrum cameras, recording, really, really super high powered recording devices. And that goes along in the cryptid world as far as investigating a Bigfoot hotspot, so to speak. You can take these parabolic mics out in the field with you, and you'll be amazed at some of the sounds and the animal sounds that you will be able to record that, you can't. And then you send them in, which I've done recently on a case I'm working on, and it came back as not identifiable to any known creature. So when you get stuff like that, that's pretty eye-opening. And there's, that's the way we got to do it. We got to use our technology and try to document evidence as best we can.
We only got a couple minutes left before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Dave, you mentioned the technology that people are using, and literally there are investigators around North America and the world right now. It doesn't matter what field of expertise they're looking into. They are spending hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars on equipment, electronics, cameras, lasers, you name it, to try and get an upper hand on what they are investigating, trying to figure it out. Yet the answers always still seem to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's really affecting the pocketbook for a lot of investment, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, we call it, a lot of us in the circles, we call it being equipment poor, because, somebody will come out with a new piece of equipment and you want to run and buy it and it's thousands of dollars or up in the, upper hundreds of dollars, because everybody's thirsty for the next, piece of equipment that will hopefully help get us one of those answers, that small piece to the puzzle. Whether it's going to work or not, who knows, but we have to try. I mean, that's what it's all about. You got to keep trying, you keep pushing forward, and you go from there. I mean, it's a never-ending process. And when it comes to what we're dealing with here, we don't know what we're dealing with. We don't know if these things are interdimensional. Obviously, if these things are traveling untold light years away to visit us, if that is indeed the case, obviously they're tens of thousands, if not millions of years advanced as more than we are. So, I mean, it's hard to tell what type of technologies they have, stealth wise and, everything else. I mean, they could stand right next to you and we wouldn't even know it. I mean, that's what we're dealing with. It's like us dealing with, freaking cavemen, in technology aspects. So, I mean, what are we going to do? We either just stop or we keep trying. And that's the name of the game for me.
Well, for a lot of people, though, I mean, when you're sacrificing food or rent for gear, that becomes an addiction as well.
Yeah, then you got a problem. You don't not eat versus buying paranormal equipment. I mean, that's
but it's happening. But it's happening, Dave, and you know that.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I've seen people go broke, and come on, man, get with a team and everybody pool their money together if that's the case. You got to budget that type of stuff and don't put yourself in that situation. I mean, that's just common sense, guys. Come on.
Well, it is the paranormal. Sometimes common sense is out the window. Author, television star, investigator, researcher, David Spinks is with us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. And coming up after the break, I want to tackle this story that is just coming out this evening about the alien autopsy video. Do you believe it? Still think it's a hoax? We're going down that path with Dave Spinks after the break here on the Mighty SOR. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, enjoying the sunshine this far north. Yes, the sun is still out. Hey, I want to remind all of you, if you have missed part of this show or others, you can always check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Great place to check out the SOR Newswire. You can listen to the show live there as well. We're going to be adding more features soon. The Gavinator is working on it. He's got a pretty tight beard these days, the Gavinator, so you know it's going to get done, all because of beard power. Dave Spinks is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He's an author, lecturer, does some television work, does a little bit of everything. His website, Dave Spinks, paranormalinvestigator.com, if you want to check it on out. Dave, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Hey, my pleasure, brother.
Earlier this evening, researcher Grant Cameron kind of unloaded a flurry of viral posts on Facebook and Twitter regarding what was once known as a hoax with the alien autopsy video that came out in the mid-90s. Now, this video was said to be debunked 20-plus years ago. Personally, I do not believe that it is real. However, there are a number of people out there right now, after today's frenzy on this video, Dave, who are questioning whether or not it's real, and if there is an actual real copy of that. Do you remember when that video came out?
Oh, yeah, man, it was huge. I mean, I sat glued to the television watching, and I watched it. I mean, they replayed it several times, and I watched it every time, and it was, I mean, it looked amazing to me. And then you had the special on it and everything, and they were talking about, they had these movie special effects guys on there talking about how they couldn't have recreated that and all this, that, and the other. And, you start thinking, wow. And then, then they come out and say, well, yeah, it was hoax. And it was just a big deflator for me, because I was like, man, I was enthralled with that movie. And I was like, wow, that looks real as all, anything I've ever seen. And, I mean, they went to such in depth that the clock was from the right time period, the phone, everything. And I'm telling you, I mean, it makes you sit and guess. A lot of people, and me included, I was thinking back in those days, I said, man, I don't know if that was faked or not, but you have to think about, well, maybe the government threatened them. Maybe they said, you come out and say this, or, you might disappear next week, or something to that effect. You never know with these things. So, lo and behold, he came out and he said, yeah, we hoaxed it and all that stuff. And now with all this stuff coming out recently, it kind of makes you sit there and wonder, man, did they in fact get threatened somehow to say those things? And, according to, Santilli, he said that, they did include a couple of frames in that movie that were from the actual video. So that the long lost missing actual video, they said it was that it was destroyed from moisture and all this stuff. But it's very, I don't know, man, with what's going on right now in the UFO world, you have to stop and wonder for a minute, did this really take place? And it's looking more and more like, to me, that yes, it did in fact take place.
Well, this is what Grant Cameron said on his Twitter earlier today. He says, the Santilli alien autopsy film is back in play. Dave Altman, who I did talk to tonight, now about to work with the film on another investigation. So this is the report that came out, just to fill in our audience so they're not blind. This report from Dave Altman that he received from Ray Santilli, the creator of the video, says, Dave, thank you for the link. I have always maintained the alien autopsy footage is real and that my story in respect of its acquisition is true. Yes, we restored and enhanced parts of the footage, but it doesn't alter the significance of the film and what it represents. I have purposely kept away from further comment, but I am very pleased that official documents are now surfacing which help verify the events of 1947 and the film, which I still have. I remain confident over the years that evidence would surface in support of the film, and all I needed to do was wait. Now, there are people who are saying that Santilli is the one who actually doxed himself as this being a hoax, and now he's coming back saying, no, it's real. It's absolutely real. So after 20-some years, how do we believe the guy?
That's tough. That's a tough situation. We talked about it a little bit ago, the only thing that he could do now is, have that footage analyzed again and to prove it's real to me. What else can you do? When you come out yourself and say, hey, I doxed this or I did this or I did that, then, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf story, you can't really do that and then expect people to believe you because you came out yourself and said this and this and this, supposedly. So barring a government agent or whoever that would come forward and say, yeah, this is real, we threaten this guy, which, that's not going to happen. You got to take it with a grain of salt. In my point of view, but with everything coming out now, it's hard to discern what's real and what's not real at this point, if you ask me.
Well, and let's continue on here because Grant Cameron then released statements from a gentleman named Colin Wolford.
Right.
And Colin put it out there. He goes, I will put this out here now, shows a little alien head emoji. Statement given to me by Ray Santilli on February 15th, 2019, intended for use at UFO MegaCon 2019. And this is how it reads. After more than 23 years of living with the subject, I still maintain that the alien autopsy film I marketed was not a hoax, and that the film is a restoration of original footage and undertaken with great expertise by extremely talented and experienced individuals. It is no different from what can be viewed in art galleries around the world, where major works of art have been restored over hundreds of years by a variety of artists and skilled technicians. Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper, a perfect example. I doubt there is a single part of that painting today painted by da Vinci himself, yet it is still regarded as a da Vinci masterpiece. He goes on to say, with still image, paint, sealants, and variety of chemicals are used for restoration, and with moving image, reenactment and technology is used in the restoration process. I have purposely kept away from the fantasists and obsessional personalities who today have come out and stated they made the film and who have attempted to create a paper trail to prove an involvement. Logic would suggest that if their stories were even partly correct, they could provide evidence other notable achievements over the years. None of them can. The film is a remarkable testament to a unique event in 1947 and the skills of the team used to restore the film. Ray Santilli. Now, 1947, he is obviously talking about the Roswell crash and the aliens that were found there. So when you hear that, and like I said, I don't believe that is a true film, but the way it's kind of breaking down is he almost made a remake of an original film. Is that what you're getting it to?
Yeah, that's what I took it as. He throws in there, he had all these expert people help him restore the film. Now, is he talking about the actual film, or did he completely remake the entire thing? It's kind of left up in the air a little bit there. If you listen to what he said there, I mean, he said it's by extremely talented individuals. Now, does he mean that he actually restored the original film, or did he do a complete remake? I don't know,
Well, I mean, here's the other part too, Dave, is whether the film is real or fake is relevant. But the more relevance that I see in this, and I'm curious to get your opinion, is back in the day, way before To the Stars Academy, ATIP programs and everything, we're going back to February 23rd, 2001, Bob Bigelow received a memorandum from Eric Davis, which was carbon copied to Colm Kelleher. Okay, basically saying that Kit Green's professional evaluation of the alien autopsy from the Roswell incident, film, video, and other related information is real.
Yes.
Now, when I read this memo, and I'm not going to read it all because there's like 11 pages to it. We could spend the rest of the night talking about this. But after reading this memo, to me, this is what is making me think, am I wrong in believing that it's a hoax or believing that it's fake or a false flag, whatever you want to call it? Am I wrong on that, considering it's these scientists connected to Bob Bigelow, and they were all part of his NIDS program back then, that are looking into this saying, we believe this is real?
I wonder what they know versus what the rest of us know. You got to take that into account too. But if those guys, are briefing Bigelow, everyone knows who Bigelow is, and they're telling him, hey, this is real, it kind of makes you stand up and take a hard look at it, even further, for me anyway. I mean, guys like that, they wouldn't waste his time telling him that they think it's real if they did, in fact, not think it was real. You're going to brief a man.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, you're going to brief a man as high up in the government contracting world, as Bigelow is, and as much power as he has. In the defense system and the budgets, defense budget and everything, and tell him that they believe this is real. If they didn't really think it was real, no, I don't think they would even consider that.
Exactly. But that's what's kind of bugging me about this is all of these names. And this is why I tell people on this show, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here for a second. Give me about 30 seconds. Okay, this is why I tell people on this show that I do not believe that Tom DeLonge is the mastermind behind the To the Stars Academy, that he handpicked all of these people. Because if you go through the groups, like NIDS, with this, which was Robert Bigelow's group, you have Eric Davis, who's working on the outskirts of TTSA, Colm Kelleher on the board, Kit Green, he's a part of it. It goes into this letter to mention Hal Puthoff. He's a part of it. Jim Semivan. There's a lot of big-name people. Oh, and by the way, Semivan happens to be the vice president of the two and co-founder of the To the Stars Academy, just so you all know. And nobody's bringing that up, Dave.
Right.
Nobody's bringing that up at all.
Yeah,
same players. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. No one's saying anything about that.
But this is what it comes down to. So we have these very brilliant gentlemen, scientists, also part of the Black community. Okay, Black Project community, I should say. All right. And here they are discussing this, believing that it's real.
Yeah, I mean, it's very compelling stuff. I mean, there's no other word for it for me. I mean, wow. You know, when they, like I said, there's those high up type of people like that, and they're saying they believe it's real, and they're briefing Bigelow on this. I mean, there's something to it somewhere. And, you know, it all goes along with the whole disclosure element. I think they're feeding us bits and pieces. You know, I've read some stuff, you know, in some of the Admiral Wilson files, and it talks of, you know, the UFOs are real, but the abduction scenario is not. And they don't say much about actual EBEs in that paperwork either. But, you know, I think it falls in line with feeding us bits and pieces of information as they want to slowly reveal that all of this is real, because they're going back to the number one point of all this is reverse technology, you know, and weapon systems and everything else. And then they don't want to create a mass panic either by just coming out and saying, yeah, you know, these entities or these beings have been visiting the planet Earth for thousands of years. We've known about it all along. They're here. There's multiple groups of them, whatever the case, you know. It seems like slowly but surely, you know, the more pressure that investigators and other people are putting into higher ups, and, you know, now a lot of these Senate subcommittees and all this stuff are really pushing for answers, you know, and it's becoming overwhelming, I think, as in some aspects to some of these people. But again, you know, in the Wilson papers and all that, they according to him, they flat out said the president doesn't even have need to know when it comes to this stuff. And that's very eye-opening, you know, when they're so dark and so secretive that the guy that's over, you know, certain aspects of the Pentagon and whatnot is in a not need to know situation. That's, I mean, we can't have that. And then, you know, they said they got very close when there was a big investigation over where these trillions of dollars have just come up missing, and they had to shut that down, you know, because people were getting very close to where all this money had been going over the years. And when you take all that stuff into account there, I mean, that's very, very eye-opening that, hey, it's real, it's going on. And it's what a lot of people have known for many years.
We got about 5 minutes to go before we're going to break here at the top of the hour. Dave Spinks is my guest tonight. I'm going to read you some of these emails, just a couple of, so our audience can get a taste rather than just you and me talking about it. All right, let's go. Here's an email from Eric Davis to Kit Green. He said, subject, your video analysis of video. Yep. The video is real. I stick by what I said after the first review. Additional details, ask me. That is, what do you want to know? And I'll answer to the best of my ability, but I don't have time to write an analysis, 75% of which you already know / believe. Nope, just don't send what I say outside NIDS. And be sure Bob, as in Bigelow, sees everything I write or say. You can clean up your questions if you want, or I guess not. Show him what you think is a personal issue or question. Kit. Then we'll go to the next email where Eric Davis, this is sent from Kit Green to Eric Davis, CC'd Hal Putoff and John Alexander. This happened the 7th of January, 2001. If you want the time, it was 12:45 p.m. All right. Subject, autopay. After reviewing the autopay, or is that autopsy? Sorry, it's a little blurry. Autopsy film. After reviewing the autopsy film, the prospect, what the heck? Their spelling's terrible here. The prospectors were not pathologists. There was one surgeon and one non-surgeon, both physicians. 2, the body was not human. 3, the procedure was non-standard and not even an autopsy autopsy protocol, but seemed like a legitimate screening attempt. 4, the procedure was not forensic, and many mistakes were made that would be embarrassing today, but assuming the procedure was indeed in 1947 or so, easily explained and forgiven. 5, the body was burned, that is, charring, not decomposing. 6, brain liquefaction had started, but the brain was abnormal in terms of human anatomy. 7, the body looked really faked, but I intend to look at the film again on the 27th of January to make a better decision. That's from Kit. I mean, this is pretty heavy. That, I mean, they're even debating whether it is real or not. And the fact that somebody like Eric Davis is in there looking at it saying it is. And it's everything's being CC'd, obviously, to Hal Puthoff, Bob Bigelow, and so on and so forth. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy incredible, man. I mean, that's mind-blowing stuff right there. I mean, they're having a back and forth about it, saying, and giving, details of what they think is real and what's not real to give to Bigelow. So, I mean, he doesn't get much better than that in my point of view. I mean,
absolutely. And one line here by
like I said, when I watched that movie, Dave, I mean, and you have these other, they had these other medical experts weigh in on it, and then they had the Hollywood special effects guys talking about it. Now, if they were telling the truth, I mean, they said, they were showing and giving their opinions on how and why they thought that was a real situation going on because of the way the blood was coming out of the creature. The way it oozed out is very consistent with how it would do with a human body, a human cadaver, so to speak. And other, they were noting specific things. The special effects guys would say, man, back in those days, there's no way anyone could have created a dummy in that, or some type of latex creature that good. Nobody had that technology. They didn't even have the type of latex wasn't even developed back then. They were saying. So, if you got to take all of that stuff into account. I mean, but it sucks that he had to come out and say that he did what he did, but who knows what kind of pressure was being put on that guy, if that be the case, you know what I mean? So
absolutely,
it's pretty eye-opening stuff, it's pretty eye-opening stuff. And we've all heard the stories of people that were, going to come out with this information, that information, and all of a sudden they disappeared. They came up, all of a sudden they had a strange and tragic accident. How many NASA scientists have come up dead in airplane crashes and everything else over the last several years? I mean, you got to take that stuff into account.
And on that note, Dave, I'm going to get you to hold on because we are going to go to break, and we're going to end our number one on this. From Hal Puthoff to Colm Kelleher and Kit Green. Colm once mentioned that you had seen real autopsy records. Are you holding out on me? ? Happy face. More Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacy, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, we're going to find out from Jeremy Puma what it's like to look at Earth, at liminal Earth. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates down in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF, AM 1560, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, and KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio, especially Dr. Rowe and Hawk of the Night. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Oh, what is this? Inobligality. Inobligality is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you coming. The Gavinator, working hard on it. Right now, you can check out the SOR Newswire and listen to the show for free. Also want to give a shout out to Gene in D.C. Hi, Gene in D.C. Give us a call sometime, will you? Love to take your call. Dave Spinks is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. He's an author, researcher, television star, packs a really tight goatee as well. His website, Dave Spinks, paranormalinvestigator.com. And we got Dave with us for the next couple of hours here. Dave, right before the break, we were talking about the alien autopsy video. And one of our listeners, Sleepy Dave Davenport, back in 1998, had an opportunity to talk to Stanton Friedman, the legendary researcher who passed away just a couple of months ago, about this alien autopsy video. Great eyebrows for Stanton.
Yeah,
fantastic
man.
eyebrows. Those pointing eyebrows. I loved those. They just made him look so much more serious and credible. But in the video, Stanton literally comes out calling it a fake, a hoax, breaks down the video. I wish I could play it. I didn't get it loaded up in time, and unfortunately you wouldn't have been able to hear it. Our audience would. But Dave did a pretty damn good job at talking to Stanton about it. And when you have researchers like Stanton Friedman coming out and saying that this is a hoax, there's nothing to it, it's just a way to play the UFO game to get some popularity and make some money. And now, 21 years later, we see what's going on as of today. It really, really makes you shake your head, wondering how this has all come about full circle again.
Yeah, maybe it's the, maybe it's part of that, part of the whole, with everything being released by the Navy pilots, Admiral Wilson, Eric Davis, and all, and the MIPS and all that stuff, the MIDS. Maybe it's another situation like that. We just don't know at this point. I mean, is he doing it to garner more attention? But then you got to take into account what we just talked about with these guys briefing Bigelow on that this thing is real. I mean, which way do you go with it?
Well, that's the big thing. That's the big thing. It's not like this video hasn't been viewed by some pretty non-astute people. There's some big names that have looked at this. And I would say most credible researchers out there would say that this video is a hoax, trying to pull the wool over people's eyes, make a few bucks on the side, have a good laugh, go for a beer down in the Bahamas for a winter vacation. I guess they don't drink beer down there. Well, Coronas, whatever.
Not real beer anyway.
I like a good Corona every now and again.
Yeah, but, I mean, here we go again with, what we talked about earlier with people hoaxing things. It makes it harder for actual, possibly credible things to come out, because there are so many hoaxers and so many people trying to gain attention by hoaxing things, such as Bigfoot and aliens and the whole nine yards. I mean, you have, even in the haunting world, people are caught on occasion faking evidence. Even on, TV's notorious for that. There was a recent scuttlebutt all over the internet about a new TV show that's out, which I won't name, but they were caught faking evidence, which goes to show you, it backs up what I talked about. It makes it hard for real people in the field to do what we do, because we have to deal now with the general public who's going to automatically assume everything's a hoax because of things like that.
Let's say hypothetically, and I don't want to stay on this topic too much longer, but let's just say hypothetically, this film of Santilli's was a remake of a real film, just like what is being discussed in that 2001 memo from Kit Green, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, Colin Kelleher, Bob Bigelow. How important is that real video? And do you think that real video could ever make it out?
I would say it would never make it out until, if at any time there was full disclosure. If there was full disclosure by the U.S. government, then yeah, maybe the film would come out. Other than that, until they're ready, it's not going anywhere. If it even still exists, that would, I worked for the government for 20 years and I know how they do things. If they don't want it to come out, it's not going to come out. I mean, that's just the bottom line with all that type of stuff. And, people like me and you talked about before, people have a tendency to just come up dead or disappearing when they threaten, or if they think they're going to put something out there that is not, that they don't want out there, and let's face it, that's been going on for thousands of years, people going against their king or their government or whatever the case may be, they come up dead sometimes. So, and there's other people in the ufology field that have come up dead, when they came out and told their stories. So the threat of that is enough to keep many people's mouths shut.
You're a believer, though. You're a believer in the UFO phenomena. You were in the United States Air Force, I believe stationed at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, March 13th, 1997, when your base was put on alert for the Phoenix Lights.
Yes. Yeah.
That was believe it or not, that was the first show that we ever did, was about that, with you on the air. And I want to set a reminder, because our listenership has changed a lot since then. What was that like for you, going through that as part of the United States Air Force? Tell us what you did.
Well, number one, we didn't know why we were being put in that, particular alert level. Usually when something like that happens, it's one of two things. It's either an exercise, you're training as to a real world scenario, what you might have to do if you're getting spun up to go to war, basically. Number two, we weren't told anything, and we sat around for hours upon hours while many jets of our base was a A-10 training squadron, which is the Warthog, which is a wicked piece of equipment. We had 3 full squadrons of those airplanes on our base, and we were kept, in full loadout all night waiting for orders, what we were going to do. And then all of a sudden they said, all right, everybody pack up and go home. Now, normally when it's a training exercise, at some point over the loudspeakers, or our lieutenants or commanders would let us know, it would come across as saying exercise, exercise, exercise. Well, we never heard that one time. We weren't fed any information. We were kept in the dark until the next day. And then, we were released to go home. We put all of our gear up and went home. And the next day, it's all over the freaking news that, literally hundreds and hundreds of people from outside of Phoenix all the way down through Phoenix and all the way past Tucson had seen this giant triangular craft in the skies. And F-16s out of Luke Air Force Base were scrambled. Our jets were scrambled. And then they tried to say, it was military flares. BS. It was not military flares. I've seen the real footage from people. It's not military flares. I was an Air Force brat. I was around airplanes my whole life. I grew up at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico, home of Sandia Laboratories. And then I went into the Air Force myself after college. And those were not military flares, folks. So, it was an obvious cover-up by the government. The local government was told to cover it up by the federal government. Fife Symington was the governor at the time, and I guarantee you they told him to cover it up or, face the repercussions. So when you have, people from the highest levels of government telling a governor of a state, do what you got to do, but, it was military flares. That's all you need to know. And he himself saw the craft as well at home with his family. And he came out years later and admitted it. So when you have people that were once that high up in government, you had reporters, doctors, lawyers, military personnel, everyone and their brother saw this thing. What's that tell you? The government is notorious for covering things up, and that was definitely a cover-up.
So when you were on the base that day, when it happened, they weren't giving you any information whatsoever.
No.
Was it ever talked about at Davis-Monthan after that?
Well, yeah, a lot of us talked about, the whole scenario. And I'll give you another little tidbit, that was very eye-opening. A lot of us were talking, asking questions, and we kept, being told it was nothing. You don't need to know nothing about it. Just shut up about it, that type of deal. Well, a few months later, I think in August, all of a sudden I got my dream base and I was shipped to Aviano, Italy. And I stayed there for 5 years. And that happened to a lot of people on that base. All of a sudden people were transferred, and all kinds of stuff to all around the world. So what does that tell you?
Really? They shipped a bunch of the crew out, including the pilots?
I don't know about the pilots, but I mean, in our, in the support group, the whole support group of the fighter wing, a lot of my friends were transferred out and sent all over the world. A lot of people got transferred after that whole situation. I guess they didn't want, us talking and conversing amongst one another of trying to figure out what the hell went on, but I mean, anyone could have watched the news there and everything. It was all over the news for weeks.
So when you were, since then, have you ever met any of the pilots that were scrambled that day?
No, man. Nope. I have some pilots. I actually had a friend that I went to high school with in Albuquerque, and I was on the base one day, and he was. He was an A-10 pilot, and I tried to get a hold of him after that, and I couldn't find him anywhere. So I don't know whatever happened to him. If he's, if he got out, if he stayed in, that was a long time ago. So, but I tried to get a hold of him, and I couldn't find him anywhere.
I'm surprised I'm surprised even through all this TTSA stuff through the United States Navy that they haven't even focused on the Phoenix Lights yet. I'm actually quite surprised by that.
And don't you find it funny too how they're only talking about the overwater incidents right now? Why is that?
I hadn't noticed, to be blunt.
Yeah, and the whole ATIPs, it's all having to do with the Navy and the Navy pilots and stuff. I mean, that's kind of weird in itself too. Is this a part of what I was talking about? They don't want to create a mass panic and say, well, most of these things, they only happen out over the open ocean and stuff. They don't happen over land and whatnot. Is that part of that? I don't know. I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about why they're only talking about the ones that are happening or have happened over the ocean with the Navy at this point in time. Because let me tell you, I've documented hundreds and hundreds of reports just here in my state of West Virginia from military pilots and civilian pilots alike. Control tower officers, several of those have seen triangular craft. They've seen cigar-shaped craft and oval-shaped craft right here in the mountain state, So why aren't they talking about all the sightings over land? They're not. They're only talking about, maybe this, maybe that right now, which is kind of eye-opening, other than, of course, the Roswell stuff. I mean, but that's, the Roswell's the kicker that kicked it all off and shows a direct cover-up by the U.S. government. Yeah, but right now in modern times, the Navy had this sighting, they had that sighting. What about all these other pilots that's all over the world, not just here in the United States, that have seen these things? And I'm telling you firsthand, too, there's probably been hundreds of pilots that were said to have died in training accidents that were chasing these things and were taken out by them or crashed and burned trying to catch up with them or keep up with them, that's a whole nother factor that needs to be brought to light. These guys were heroes following orders and chasing unknown craft in our airspace.
So when you look at this, are you surprised that with all the Navy pilots coming out now discussing this, and they all fly the F/A-18 Super Hornet, which is the premier fighter. But back then, I believe the F-14 Tomcat was still in service as well. But nonetheless, are you surprised that no Marine pilots, Army helicopter pilots, or Air Force pilots have come out about this yet?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I mean, it's kind of mind-boggling why other branches of the services aren't coming out, saying that what they've seen, because damn well they've seen stuff. And they've probably chased stuff and had encounters with these things. I don't know why they're just focusing on the Navy only right now. But, I've got documentary reports myself from pilots, like I said, and, It's a lot farther reaching than just Navy out over the open ocean, man. I mean, it's just a small tip of the iceberg they're feeding us right now.
Well, you may know better than me. How long does a pilot's NDA last, or do pilots in the military sign an NDA?
Oh, yeah. When it comes to that, like if they're flying, they, and they have an account. I mean, it's been documented by many pilots. They talked about it on TV, immediately upon landing, they were they're taken into a debrief, and they are ordered to sign this NDA and that NDA and told never to speak of this again, for fear of major consequences, possible court-martial, a huge fine, and possible time in the brig, man. I mean, when and your career will be washed down the toilet. And that's the fear factor that these guys live with. Even civilian pilots, look at the Japan Airlines incident. That guy was pretty much lost his career after that.
That's true.
But, thank God these guys are brave enough to come out and start talking about this stuff. And some of them, if you watch some of the recent television shows, they're some of them are saying, no, you got to black out my face and change my voice, but I'll talk about it. Because they have that fear put into them, and it's real. It's a real fear, and it's like I said, people disappear all the time, and they come up with these strange, mysterious accidents. Look at all these NASA. I find it very compelling over the last several years how many NASA people have had these strange accidents and aircraft crashes and whatnot. Were they going to spill the beans, so to speak, or was it all coincidence? In my point of view, there's no such thing as that much coincidence.
We got about 2 minutes before we need to go to break here. Do you think we are going to see more pilots or more military members from other services start coming out about this? Do you think they're going to be brave enough in order to, put their fellow teammates and crew members in the firing line, no pun intended, about this topic if they come out forward? Because that's a big decision to make for just one person.
Yeah, I mean, not only will that affect yourself, your own person, but that affects your family, your co-mates, or whatever the case, your co-workers that were in the military with you. But let's hope it snowballs so much that, let's just hope so many people come out of the woodwork. Let's hope thousands of pilots and air traffic controllers and more people just demand disclosure and tell their stories, because that's what it's literally going to take to make the government buckle under the pressure of it. That's the only thing that we can hope for it all to come out in the open. And let's hope it does. I really do, because, so many of us know little bits and pieces. I want to know the whole freaking story, man.
Well, who doesn't? Who doesn't, man? And, I still believe the fact, Dave, and we're going to go to break here in about 30 seconds, but I still believe the fact that there's two reasons why they aren't doing it. Number one, there's a lot of secrets from the past that they still got to hide. And number two, there's a lot of people today who probably could not handle the realization that we are not alone. So on that note, I will say we're going to move on Spaced Out Radio with Dave Spinks. We're going to get into some paranormal and cryptid talk coming up here, because we got Dave for one more hour. If you want to check out his website, it's Dave Spinks, paranormalinvestigator.com. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA, Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in SOR headquarters as it's finally starting to get a little dark up here in the Great White North. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Reminder to all of you, if you've missed most of this show and others, you can always go to our free YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. That's where we store our archives. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Stay tuned. There are a plethora of features coming for you. The Gavinator is on the build. Right now, you can visit our site, play the show live, as well as read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Our guest tonight is Dave Spinks. Dave Spinks, paranormalinvestigator.com is his website. And the one thing you may not know about Dave, he owns his own little paranormal laboratory. And we're going to get into that with Dave as we change from alien autopsy videos and the Phoenix Lights over to the paranormal now. Dave, welcome back.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to tell you this before we get started. And I was telling Everett Thiemer about this earlier. Everett and I have been monitoring this. You know, when you go on Facebook and all of a sudden, like, you're thinking of a product or you're thinking, man, I would love a bag of chips. And all of a sudden you get advertisements for chips on your Facebook.
Yes, man. I was just talking about that with somebody.
Well, I took it to a new level today. And I actually messaged Everett about it. So there's usually, I'm going to leave the name out. All right? I'm going to leave the name out. And I was sitting at my desk earlier on today, and I was like, okay, I haven't seen this person appear on my Facebook page in a while. I wonder why. I hit refresh on Facebook, didn't say it out loud, nothing. And the first person at the top of my page is this person.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Pardon me, it was on Twitter, not Facebook. All I was doing was thinking about it. And I know that I can chalk that up to sheer coincidence. Sheer coincidence. But I've got the photographic evidence, and I sent it to Everett. And this is what I said. I said, I hate this crap. So I'm sitting at my desk perusing through Twitter, thinking, not aloud, just in my mind, that I haven't seen any tweets today by this certain person. So I hit home, reload the tweets, and that person right on top. It just absolutely gave me the heebie-jeebies, man. Gave me the heebie-jeebies. I don't get it, don't understand it, but total coincidence, and go from there.
Well, they say we don't use 80% of our brain, man, you know. So, but I was just talking to somebody about the same type of situation recently. You know, they were talking about the same type of scenario, and it was on Facebook on this particular incident, thinking about something or say something, and all of a sudden, bam, there's that product or there's that person popping up. So, you know, makes you wonder, are they hearing and seeing everything we're talking about or thinking about? That, I mean, how is that even possible, you know?
Exactly. It's one of those things that is complete. There was actually a journalist in the United Kingdom who recently wrote an article about that. She actually did a test for a story. I got to find that because I just remembered that. I remember sending it to a couple of people, including our news director, Captain Shirk, I believe. And it was an incredible article. She did this test over weeks. Couldn't believe how many times it was happening. But nonetheless, I am getting a couple questions, or a question from a couple people in our audience, asking if you've been keeping up to date on the Hellier series by Greg and Dana Newkirk, Connor Randall, and Carl Pfeiffer, and your thoughts on it.
No, I haven't. No, I have not. I'm so busy with my own stuff, guys. I mean, it's hard for me to keep up with it, what other folks are doing. You know, I'm just constantly busy and out there doing my thing, you know. So I occasionally see bits and pieces of what other folks are doing, but I'm a pretty busy guy.
Don't blame you. Not a problem for that. You own a secondary house in Indiana called Willows Weep. Yes. Tell us about this home.
Well, I'm super excited about this opportunity. I investigated this place starting back in 2014 was the first time I went to it, and I went back several times after that because of the crazy paranormal evidence I captured and the experiences I had. Well, and this is the long and broad strokes of it. I became friends with the owner, the former owner, and a couple of years ago, she reached out to me, and this woman has been through some really horrendous things at this house. She swore that the house tried to kill her and her husband on numerous occasions. She had been choked there. She was hit so hard in the stomach by something unseen that it actually bruised her kidney and liver. She had to go to the hospital. And back in 2017, I received a call from her, and she said, "Dave, I've had enough of this place. You know, I want you to have it." And you know, she said there was one of two. You know, there's two of us that she would only sell it to because she felt that we were the only ones strong enough to deal with this place for whatever reason. You know, after knowing us for a few years, I guess the other person couldn't do it. So we came to terms, and I bought this place. And I'll give you some information about the house. It was built in the late 1800s by a man who was we don't have the documentation, but it was known that he was either a postman or a postmaster. He was definitely one of the two. We just don't know which one. The house is built in the shape of a cross, of all things. It faces east. Directly in front of the house, there's a crossroads. So if you think about the old deal with the devil type thing, you know, you go to the crossroads to make a deal with the devil. The town itself is a really high area for Native American artifacts. There's Native American mounds all around the area. The residents of the town and the area around the house often find arrowheads and pottery in their gardens when they're digging, you know, their gardens for the summer. Has two rivers that merge into it, and we all know, if you're into the paranormal and you're an investigator, you know that water is said to be a conductor of paranormal activity. Well, underneath the whole area, there's a huge aquifer as well. And this house has many strange aspects to it, death-wise. There are 7 confirmed deaths, and I have factual information that occurred in the house, 3 by suicide. The first owner, the postman, he and his wife both died in the house. I believe the wife died first of what they called normal circumstances. But he himself, after she died, he became a hermit-type character, and he stayed in the little bathroom that is in this house. The house is not very big. It's only like 1,300 square feet. But over the years, he stayed, after his wife died, in that little bitty bathroom, and he was found dead in the bathtub one day. Well, not long after that, his son took over the house. His son had been married previously, and the woman he married had been married previously, and they both had kids from those prior marriages, and then they had kids together. So altogether, they had 23 children from prior marriages and together. Well, this guy, his name was Jesse Sykes, he turned out to be a pedophile and was caught molesting one of his stepdaughters. Well, he was taken to court, and they slapped him on the wrist and gave him a $700 fine, and that was it. And as time went by, one evening he went out to feed the hogs, because this property used to be a rather large farm. He went out to feed the hogs and didn't come back, and so they sent one of the older girls out to find him. Well, she found him in the hog pen being eaten alive by his own hogs. His genitals were eaten off, his ankle, his ear, and his guts were hanging out. So she freaked out, ran back, got help, and they drug him into the house, where he soon bled out. So that's a weird karmic situation there. Here he is molesting his stepdaughter, and then the pigs eat him alive. And that's, some Mark 5 out of the Bible type stuff, if you ask me. But so, and then later on, there was another family that moved into the house. And it was a woman with a young daughter and an older teenage boy who had been married 3 previous times, and all 3 of her husbands had died under mysterious circumstances. Well, one day her daughter, who was like 5 or 6, she actually came up missing, and no one ever found out what happened to her. She was never found, never heard from again. And one day the son hung himself in the middle of the room of the house. And I'll get back to that aspect of that story later. So then the last person to actually live in the house, he was married, and his wife either OD'd intentionally in the house or OD'd accidentally in the house, but she died in the house. Several years went by while he mourned her, and then he ended up shooting himself in the head. And they found him dead in his favorite chair a week later. The chair that he died in is still in the house today with his blood and brains all over it. That's where Brenda comes in, the former owner. She bought the house for her son, not knowing what all had transpired in that place over the years, because she was trying to help her son get started in life and giving him a place to live, and for a really low price. As you can imagine, this house was a really low price. So when she met the last guy that died in the house, his son met her at the house and walked her to the door and opened the door and wouldn't go in. And she didn't understand, why he wouldn't go in, but she said, okay, whatever. So her and her son went in, they looked around, and from the very first moment they walked in there, strange stuff started happening. There was either a 2x4, I'd have to look at my records, but it was a 2x4 or a pole was leaning up against the wall in the house, and it flew across and hit the son square in the forehead, almost knocking him out. And it was approximately 10 to 15 feet away from them, is what she told me. And it hurt him pretty bad. It knocked him a little bit loony, and he was bleeding, had a knot on his head. So they walked out and, chalked it up as a strange coincidence. Then she found out from the son what happened, to his dad in the house, but the price was so good, she went ahead and bought it. Well, from the very get-go, as they were trying to fix the house up and remodel it, they noticed in the floor plans that there was supposed to be a staircase leading to the upstairs, and they couldn't find one anywhere, so he started pecking around on the walls and whatnot, and looking for this mysterious staircase that was in the original floor plans but couldn't be found, and they discovered a false ceiling. Well, they pulled the false ceiling out, and it was another 3 to 4 feet up to the real ceiling, and they discovered these 4 points that were built into the house that all face this. If you picture a cross in your mind, all these 4 points face pointing to the dead center of the cross of the house, right? So as time went on, they were doing other remodeling, and she told me that oftentimes saws and other tools they were using for the remodeling would turn on when they weren't even plugged in. And all this paranormal activity was going on. Well, there was a laminate floor that was put over the original 1800s floor in the house because they wanted a newer floor, I guess. Well, it was kind of hooved up from moisture, so they dug that floor out, and in the corner they found a weird book that had an upside-down pentagram, and it said it was more like a pamphlet, not a book, but it said, "Is the spirit world real?" And it was buried between the old floor and the new laminate floor. Well, when they flipped through this thing, and it was put out through the Church of God, which is really bizarre if you ask me, because I don't know any Christian church that would ever publish a pamphlet or a book that has an upside-down pentagram on it and talks about necromancy and how to communicate with spirits. And I have the book in my possession to this day. And I did a little bit of research on this pamphlet, and it was put out in 1985. And it's the people that put this book out, it's like a weird sect of the Church of God, but it's more like a cult when I read on these people. And then, so that's another strange aspect to the house. As time went on, more and more strange things started happening to Brenda and her family. In the back of the house, they have a very large metal building that they used for, get-togethers and stuff. They had a pool table in there, and they would cook out, and they had everything they needed to do cookouts and stuff in there. And she actually ended up meeting and marrying the next door neighbor. So they lived in the next door neighbor's house, but they also owned the Willows Weep property, right? So they would have these family get-togethers. Well, her little niece was there one time, and they noticed she was looking up and waving at something in the second-story window of the house. And they said, who are you waving at, honey? And she said, that little girl in the window. And they all looked, and they said, what little girl? She said, the little girl right there. Don't you see her? They said, no. So they kind of chalked it up as a child's imagination. Well, they kind of walked away, and a few seconds later, the little niece started screaming bloody murder, and they all ran over there and said, what happened, honey? What happened? And she said, that little girl came down and bit me. And they said, where did she bite you at? And she said, on my face. And within a few seconds, a human bite mark showed up on the little niece's face. So all this stuff was transpiring. She had a maintenance man that was helping her go under the house to check the pipes on this one occasion. So it's a small crawl space, barely big enough for a grown man to fit under. You have to crawl on your hands and knees. And he goes under there, and he notices in the center of where the house is, there's a strange pit dug with rocks around it that are granite-type rocks, and then there's ashes in it. And he also notices that there's several mounds of dirt blocking his way to get to the pipes he needs to go check. So as he pushes one of the dirt piles over with his arm, a child's arm bone pops out. Oh, he grabs the bone, starts looking at it, and as he's doing this, he claims that something attacked him physically that he couldn't see, and it was in a sexual-type manner. So you can imagine the fright on this poor guy. He flies out of there as fast as he can possibly crawl, carrying this arm bone, gives it to Brenda, and says, I'm never going back in that house again, and under that house again. So he goes home, and she doesn't know what to do, so she ends up taking the bone to the local doctor. And, it's a small country town. This town doesn't even have a working stoplight. It's got one flashing light. That's how small it is, So she takes it to the local doctor. He looks at it and says, well, it's definitely a child's arm bone, but it looks very old. And she says, well, what do I do with it? And supposedly he called the local sheriffs, asked them what to do. And they said, well, we'll take the doc's word. If it looks very old, then either get rid of it or put it back. You know, it's up to you, which I find highly unusual because normally there'd be an investigation done. So she goes back and puts the arm back, which is supposedly still under their house today. I still have a lot more research and investigation to do on that. But could that be the bones of the little girl that came up missing from the mom many years ago? And did the son know about something happening to his little sister? Possibly the mom killed her, or she died accidentally, or he had something to do with it, and he hung himself in guilt. You know, is that what happened? I don't know. More investigation to be done on that. But as time went by, all these crazy things started happening. So that's when she decided, you know, I'm going to have some paranormal teams come here and see if they can figure out what the hell's going on in here. So as that all transpired, she started having teams come in, and that's where I came in. You know, I was in the house investigating, as well as other teams. Other teams I've talked to that have been in there have experienced some crazy stuff. People have been attacked, been scratched by different things, and so on and so forth. Well, as time went on, her husband had went over there to do some work in the house, fixing something or another, and this guy was in great shape, you know, hard-working guy, never had any health problems, and bam, has a freaking heart attack. So they get him straightened out. He recovers from that, and then several months later, whenever this stuff would happen, she would just shut the house down for months and months at a time and not let anybody in. So he goes back to do something over there and has a episode where he falls out, and they rush him to the hospital, and he has a brain bleed, and they have to do all that emergency surgery and whatnot and drain the pressure off of his brain. So according to him, from that house, it tried to kill him 2 times. He has a pacemaker now, and he has all kind of problems, and she has all kind of problems from it. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on this place, Dave. I mean, there's so much more. There's a giant weeping willow in front of the tree, or in front of the house. And the same poor maintenance guy that she had helping her was actually mowing the yard one day, and this willow tree's branches touched the ground, right? So he went to go trim them. And Brenda was on the other side of the house doing something. Well, she heard the lawnmower stop, and after several minutes, she went to go check what was going on, why he wasn't mowing. So she goes over there, finds him laying on the ground in a crumpled heap, and says, "Oh my God, what happened? What happened?" He said, "Something threw me off the lawnmower." So according to him, after he trimmed a few branches off of that tree so he could mow under it, something threw him from the lawnmower, and he hit the porch and actually fractured his back.
No kidding. And David, I'm gonna get you to hold on right there. We're gonna go into the next hour with this story, because this is an absolute creepy paranormal type story here, and I want to get the full effects with it until we go to the bottom of the hour. Hour 3 with Dave Spinks coming up on Spaced Out Radio, along with the SOR News Wire and the Thought of the Dave. Lots of good stuff left in tonight's show. You got to stay tuned, because this story gets creepier from Dave Spinks right after this.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache. so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics, from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow night on the show, Jeremy Puma joins us. We're going to talk Liminal Earth. He's out of Seattle. We'll get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. Down in Reedsport, Oregon, KDUN AM 1030. KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and in Dangerfield, Texas, AM 1560, KDNF. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio tonight. Hope you're having a good time. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Inobligality. Inobligality is your password. Nobody knows what it means, but the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. Still got some work on it. The Gavinator is all over it, but you can read up on the SOR Newswire, listen to the show live as well. More features coming very, very soon. For the final time tonight, we introduce Dave Spinks. He is one of the best paranormal investigators in the United States, hanging out with us tonight. He's done numerous television shows, authored books, including with David Weatherly, whom you know we absolutely love around here. His website, Dave Spinks, paranormalinvestigator.com, if you want to check things out. We're talking about this haunted house that he has bought in Indiana. And Dave, I got to ask you right off the bat, what is going through your brain to buy a house this haunted?
Well, I mean, let's think about this, doing what I do. I mean, what better of a place to document paranormal activity, man? With all the different experiences that people have claimed to have, the known factual deaths in the house. I mean, that's, one of those places in my 30 years, I've never seen anything like this. With the known factual stuff that's happened there, plus all the eyewitness reports from other investigators that have claimed to had various just hair-raising accounts happen to them in this house. along with the former owner and her husband and members of their family, you know, and everything combined, it's like a paranormal storm type of place. I really, truly feel there's some type of doorway or vortex there, you know, of some sort. Funneling, I think this house was built, and through word of mouth in the general community, this old woman that lived right next door to the house told Brenda that her mom and dad knew the original builder of the house and said he was into some weird stuff. And I think he built this house intentionally to funnel energy, because in the old floor plan of the house, okay, it's built, number one, it's built in the shape of a cross. And I researched and I've looked, and other people have looked and researched to say maybe this house was a church at one time. No, there's no records of it as ever being a church. But in the original floor plan, okay, if you picture a cross in your mind, right, you've got the upper point, the two arms that come off the side, and then the long bottom. Now, in the corners where those arms meet in the center of the cross, there was actually 4 doorways in and out of this place. Now, over the years, someone had enclosed those doorways to make these little weird rooms, but they all have windows in them still. And then those points that I was telling you about earlier, they are right above where those doorways were. So it's almost like there's a pentagram built into the house, and then right directly under the center of the cross that's in the center of the house, there's that weird pit with ashes in it, almost like it was some kind of ceremonial pit. I truly believe there was some type of witchcraft or spells done in that house over the years, and then take into account all the strange deaths. And then there's a lot more to this place, you know, than meets the eye. And I've just touched on the tip of it, man. There's a lot more to go.
Well, some of the ghosts that you have captured in this house, are they violent? Are they malevolent? What do you think is going on?
Well, when you walk into this place, man, you feel an ungodly presence or heaviness in that house. It's stifling. It feels like you're going to lose your breath. Like it's just overwhelming. It feels like you can't breathe in there. And a lot of, you know, over the years, I've been in a lot of places like this, but this one's the heaviest I've ever encountered, really, when you walk in and almost immediately. And it's weird, and it changes, excuse me, it changes from night to day. When at daytime, it's tolerable. You can still feel a heaviness or a sadness, but when the night comes, man, it's a whole different world in that place, and it's like the energy just changes as soon as it gets dark. And, you know, it's just this weird vibe in there. You know, of course, you have Curtis's chair in there that's still got his blood and stuff on it. That's a definite trigger object. You know, blood is a powerful substance, is used in spells and everything else. Now, Brenda told me when, you know, of course, when they got in there, they took the chair out of the house, put it in the building in the back, and they had plans on disposing of it, of course. And she said it got 100 times worse with bizarre things happening, you know, tools turning on, people getting attacked in the house. Her one of her family members, he's a pretty heavy set guy. I mean, he probably weighs 300, and he's a stout guy. He's not just, you know, heavy. He's pretty stout, and he's short. And they all claim to have seen him get lifted up. Something was choking him and lifted his feet up off the floor. So you have a guy that weighs around 300 pounds, and there's something strong enough in that house to lift him up, and his feet were actually off of the floor. And then going back to the poor maintenance guy, on another occasion, him and Brenda were painting the outside of the house. Well, they didn't have a tall enough ladder to reach the second floor. So what they did is they pulled the pickup truck up next to the house, and then they put the ladder in the pickup truck to give them some extra elevation. Well, he went up there and he was painting near the second story, and he said he heard what sounded like these chain type rattling sound. And then he heard a woman's voice scream right in his face, said, cussing at him, F you, I'm going to kill you. And then the ladder he was on was pushed, and he flew he flew backwards and landed down on the ground, and he was like 15, 18 feet up in the air. And that poor guy has been through the ringer. He doesn't even like talking about it, you know, all the stuff he's experienced there. He won't go in the house anymore. He won't do anything. He doesn't even mow anymore. He's in really bad health shape now. And I have to wonder, did that house cause some of that stuff to him? Another really strange account Brenda told me was she was working on the yard one day, and she heard a vehicle pull up in the front yard. And somebody was talking to somebody in the front in a vehicle, and she looked, and it was two of her friends had stopped by and was talking to one of her family members. And so she walked up there and started talking to them, and they were talking about this willow tree and whatnot, and the house and how spooky it was. Well, one of the guys, he tempted fate, said, I don't believe in none of that crap. And he grabbed two of the branches off the tree and jerked them off of there and threw them in the dashboard, and they took off down the road. And an hour later, Brenda gets a phone call and said that these guys got in a horrific car crash and flipped the car in the graveyard, and all three of them there was one in the back and the two brothers in the front seat, and all three of them were life flighted. Well, they were in really bad shape, and one guy's leg got twisted all the way around backwards, and the other two were in really bad shape. And when she got the full story, she said the two brothers in the front seat started fighting for no reason and started fist fighting in the car. And then they went off the road, missed the curb, and went right into a graveyard and hit a tree and flipped the car. Right after they said, I don't believe in none of that crap, and jerked two limbs off of the willow tree and threw them in the dashboard. So, you know, to me, they tend to fate and they lost. So that's another strange account about this house. You know, let's see, what else do we got? I mean, we got so much more. I've spent numerous hours investigating in the house. I've captured numerous EVPs from various things. I feel that I've actually communicated with the spirit of what says it's Curtis. There's also a little girl in there. Brenda's husband went into the house one day, and he told me this account. He saw a man and a little girl holding hands and walk completely through the wall inside the house, disappearing into the wall. And he, like I said, he's really messed up. He can't even go near the house, or he goes started having all kinds of health problems and whatnot. When I was doing her interview for some of the stuff I'm doing with the house, he was in the car outside in the next park next to the house. And he got so distraught and so messed up, she had to take him home, and I had to cut the interview short. Also, I recently filmed some TV stuff for the house, and Brenda was there with me interviewing for the show, and she didn't want to do it, but she did it for me. And she came out there, and I was talking to her on the phone recently, and she said right after we filmed the segment for the show coming out, that she became violently ill that afternoon after leaving the shoot, and her hair has been falling out ever since that shoot. So, you know,
have you ever thought about getting this house blessed, having a priest go in there to see what's going on?
Well, I guess they have attempted that in the past, according to Brenda and folks, and they said it knocks it down for a while, then it always comes back. So, like I said, there's more to be done there. I think there's a lot of unknown things that need to be uncovered first. I don't know if the house is built on possibly a Native American graveyard, or if people's bodies are under the house. I got to find that out too, because, there may be bodies with those mounds of dirt. I don't know. I got to get in there with some people, some ground penetrating radar, and find out. There's things I need to do there. So, because that could be, the little girl that was missing, maybe that's her. Maybe she's under there. I don't know, and that, as we know, that could cause major unrest from a spirit, to be maybe accidentally died, killed, or purposely murdered and buried under a house. We got to find that out, and we got to take care of that. And if that's the case, we need to give that person a proper burial, and take care of that for them. But there's a lot of different aspects that have gone on here. Another little boy, member of the family was there, claimed he came running in the building where they were having a picnic on another occasion, and told him that it was her grandson, I believe, said, Mama, I just saw Jesus Christ. And she said, what are you talking about? And she said, I saw a man wearing a white robe. He had a full beard, gray hair, and he walked out of the house through the wall and walked by the clothesline and disappeared. And then there's just a ton of other stories. What time she's had the house locked up, and no one's in there, no one's been in there, and you can see the curtains opening and closing from someone on the inside looking out. Just numerous things like that. She installed security cameras inside the house and put children's balls in the house, and it gave me numerous videos of these balls that were sitting on various pieces of furniture, for hours and days and weeks at a time, and then all of a sudden they roll off and they're moving in left and right and around different directions, and then they all come to stop almost on every occasion right in the center of the house where the cross is. Like they're being pulled to that area where I feel there may be a doorway or some type of portal or vortex right there. Another crazy piece of video, several pieces she's given me, was in the house. Okay, if you picture the cross in your mind again, and the center of the cross, and then going off on each arm, there's double doors, okay? And they're like 10-foot double doors on each arm of the cross, except for the one leading to the long part of the cross. The other three arms have a set of double doors built original to the house in the 1800s. Now, she's got video of these doors slamming all by themselves, opening and closing, nobody in the house. And then on several occasions there had been groups in there, some investigators, and the door closed when they were in there, and it was captured on video. Now, one of the doors slammed so violently that the innards of the doors shattered. Like the inside parts of the doors shattered into pieces. So not wanting the doors to be destroyed, she took her and her husband and them, grabbed these big heavy rocks from outside in the yard, like 20-pound rocks, and put in front of the doors to keep them from slamming. And there's also video of those doors shutting by themselves with those rocks right in front of them. Incredible. So there's something with a lot of force there that is just, I think there's possibly negative entities, I'm pretty sure without a doubt, that have affected people, have attacked people, and possibly even caused people to commit suicide, in that house.
Do you believe that there is some sort of demonic portal on that property or in that house somewhere?
I believe something is I think something comes in and out of that house. Oh, also another strange aspect of the house I forgot to tell you about was, because there's so many of them, in the one bedroom that the woman OD'd in, there was a crucifix, a rather large crucifix hanging on the wall, and it was kind of made out of pewter and metal and whatnot. Well, after Brenda bought the house, it was still in there. Well, she came in one day, and there's this crazy burn spot on the wall where that thing hung, and she said that the cross was totally melted and destroyed, laying on the floor, and there's this burn mark on the paneling, and it has a head, and it has what looks like to be horns, without a doubt. It's on the website. If you guys go to my website, just look up the Willows Weep page, and you'll see pictures of all this stuff, the book, and other things that have, about the house that, it's just a brief summary, because I want I want people to get the book and read all the factual stuff about it. But if you go on there, you can check it out. It's pretty nuts, man. And you'll see the burn mark that was left there and the thing is, there's no electrical behind this spot, no electrical at all that could have caused this thing to just spontaneously combust and melt and burn a spot on the wall like that. And there's, another thing, there hasn't been any electric on in the house since Brenda bought it. I run, when she would hook up cameras, we would run, and she'd run it. She showed me how she did it. She ran power cords from the outside building through the vent hole into the house just to be able to run the cameras and stuff. But none of the electric in the house is actually even turned on. So any EMF you get, and we get all kinds of crazy EMF readings in that house, are legit. There's nothing on. There's no appliances in the house, nothing turned on, and you'll get readings off the charts in there. And there's no. You'll get battery drain on all of your equipment consistently. Just everything you look for in a paranormal storm, it happens in that house.
Dave, we only got about 4 minutes left with you tonight. What is the purpose of owning this house? What are you hoping to get out of it in the end?
Well, like I said, there's nothing even comes close to anything I've seen in all my years of the field. So when I got the opportunity to take control of the house, I said, well, this will be a perfect opportunity to have a paranormal lab, so to speak, where I can set up a semi-controlled environment and monitor it and try to document paranormal phenomena within it. I can, that's what I'm going to be doing. I mean, that's the whole sole purpose of it. And, that's a perfect opportunity to spend significant amount of time in a location and also monitor and document it without human interference to see what transpires.
So with that, do you plan on opening this up to the public for public tours, public events, or right now is it way too dangerous to do that?
I think right now it's a little bit dangerous. Numerous people have been affected negatively by this house. I think their health has, and other people have had crazy accidents and whatnot. And I think, at this point in time, I'm just going to document stuff. And, like I said, me and Weatherly are doing a book on this place. It'll be out later this year with all the factual stuff and interviews with the former owners and everything else, because some of the facts and stuff have been told by teams were not, they were hit and miss. They weren't getting everything right. So we spent some time and documented all this stuff and putting it in the book so people can see the real history and what all has truly transpired in that house. And I think there's a lot more to be discovered, here. And there's a lot to do with it. And I think it's going to be one to be remembered. To me, it's unlike anything I've ever seen with all the different aspects to it.
Well, I hope you find what you're looking for, but you're safe. How do you protect yourself in a home like this, or can you?
Well, I always, especially in negative places like this, I use protection prayers and other things, but it doesn't always work. I've done that before and been attacked physically by unseen things, and you just gotta, you never know what you're going to get. You got to be prepared to expect the worst, and that's what you try to do. I may open it up in the future for other teams to come in, but at this time, I'm not really letting hardly anybody in. I mean, I've let a few people in, but not very many, because I just think it's too dangerous. I'd feel horrible if something happened to somebody and it was under my control.
Don't blame you there. Dave, we have about 1 minute left with you tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Want to say a big thank you for coming on in. Do me a favor, do our audience a favor. Let us know about your websites, where they could find your YouTube channels, everything.
Yeah, just check out my website, www.davespinks.paranormalinvestigator.com. Please get my new book, Real West Virginia Hauntings, Volume 1. It's a series of books I'm doing about all the cases I've investigated in West Virginia. Homes and notorious locations. I'm the only person ever allowed to investigate the actual Greenbrier ghost house here in West Virginia, and it's in my book. Check it out. Also, if you're into cryptids and Bigfoot, check out my West Virginia Bigfoot book. And several more books in the works, guys. You can see all the shows there's a new show coming out on History Channel July 19th called The Unexplained. William Shatner's the host. I'll be in several episodes of that, so check that one out. And the Willows Weep house will be on that show.
Perfect. Dave, I always love the opportunity when you're on the air, whether it's with yourself, just me and you here, or when we got Triple Dave happening with David Weatherly as well. I honestly can say this to our audience. I think you're one of the good guys in this field, Dave. You're investigating for the right reasons. Please keep up the fantastic work and keep us up to date on what's happening at Willows Weep as well. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. Always a pleasure.
Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Lots more to come on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot THAL, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rockin'. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you. What a pleasure it is for me to be here at SOR headquarters, hanging out with all of our fabulous listeners. And, of course, I want to remind you, if you miss portions of this show or others, you could go check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. And, of course, our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you coming. The Gavinator is working on it, but we're on our way. You can read up on the SOR Newswire on our website, spacedoutradio.com. Let's get to the news of the night. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get into the weird, the wacky, the WTF, those stories that make you scratch your head. And we're starting down in Tallahassee, Florida. Why? That's gator country. Yes, big, big gators. Well, a couple weeks ago, nuisance alligator trapper Leon County, Brock Vaughn, was about to, head home, enjoy his evening, when he was notified about a big alligator sitting on an exit ramp to Monroe Street. Like, okay, just a typical alligator, whatever. Yeah, well, apparently this alligator, big alligator, was just over 12 feet long, weighing in at 463 pounds. Pretty big. 500-pound gator. They needed a tow truck to come get rid of this. Tallahassee police and the Florida Highway Patrol had to close off the area for a few hours after the gator was spotted on the highway. Vaughn Gators, his company, showed a hoist that was eventually used to remove the gator from the road. The big gator was alive at the time, but was eventually euthanized because of its injuries. They figure it was hit by a semi-truck. What kind of damage could a semi-truck do to a 500-pound alligator? That is one collision I would not want to see. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission administers a statewide nuisance alligator program that uses contracted trappers to remove alligators from locations where they are unwanted or unwelcome. They try not to euthanize them, but to move them into refuge areas. In 2018, the agency received 14,739 nuisance gator complaints that resulted in the removal of 8,139 alligators, according to the state. 500-pound alligator. That's big. Remember in 2016, the big debate on social media, what this new cutting-edge polar research ship should be called? And the winner was Bodie McBoatface. Well, originally the Science Ministry vetoed the choice, going with the more respectable RSS Sir David Attenborough. As a consolation prize, however, the Natural Environment Research Council did decide to bestow the silly name on the new long-range autonomous research submarine that would eventually travel aboard Attenborough. Now the results are back from Bodie McBoatface's first underwater mission, and the yellow submarine is proving more than it's just a funny name. In April 2017, McBoatface sub was deployed in Southern Ocean for its maiden voyage. Of course, over 3 days, Bodie traveled more than 111 miles along a seabed ridge known as Orkney Passage, where warm and cold water mix deep on the seafloor off the tip of the Antarctic Peninsula. Bodie mapped a 3D scan of the mountainous terrain and collected data over water temperature, turbulence, salinity, in the lower layers of the region. Yeah, it's paying off. Old Bodie McBoatface paying off here. Bodie showed something new. The water is also mixing in horizontal directions as ocean currents move along the rugged terrain of the seafloor. Well, that's interesting. These findings imply, in order to predict how sea levels are going to rise around us in coming decades, we need to understand how Antarctic winds are going to evolve, since our mechanism means that further intensification of these winds may result in more deep ocean warming and faster sea level rise, according to project leader Alberto Naviera Garabato from the University of Southampton. Interesting. Good old Bodie. Paying off. Paying off. I know. We mentioned this last night on the show, that 3 U.S. senators have been briefed by the Pentagon and the Navy, reportedly encountering unidentified aircraft over years. The latest group of government officials, including President Trump, to receive classified information about UFO sightings. This was all reported by the Politico. The question now begs, hey, finally a question by popular mechanics that we have been asking around here. Why now? As you would expect, the information passed on by the Pentagon in the secret sessions is highly classified, but a spokesperson for one senator involved in the meetings, Senator Mark Warner, explained his intrigue and request for more intel. If Navy pilots are running into unexplained interference in the air, that's a concern for safety. Senator Warren believes we need to get to the bottom of, said his spokesperson Rachel Cohen in a statement. Warner is current vice chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. Earlier this week, of course, President Trump told ABC News that he had been briefed in, told that to George Stephanopoulos. When Stephanopoulos asked Trump if he thought there was evidence of extraterrestrials, the president responded, well, I think it's great. Our pilots are great. Our great pilots would know, and some of them really see things that are a little bit different than in the past. So we're going to see. But we'll watch it, and you're going to be the first to know. Of course, we go to the 2004 Nimitz in this story. I still want to know if the Navy wasn't checking up on these things, how they got the videos still from 2004. Nobody's asked them that yet. The funny part about it is, in this story, they ask the question, why now? And it's not even answered in the entire article. How do you ask that question? It's one of the most important questions out there, and it's not even answered in the article. Disappointing. Very disappointing. Here's a weird one out of Facebook land. A moderator dies after viewing horrific videos. Others share disturbing incidents. So about a dozen current and former Facebook moderators described a filth-ridden, emotionally disturbing, high-stress work environment where they receive little support from managers and an extreme amount of pressure to accurately moderate the never-ending fire hose of despicable hate speech, graphic violence against humans and animals, and child pornography on the social media network, often leaving them with post-traumatic stress disorder and related conditions. The contractors, part of Facebook's army of about 15,000 content monitors worldwide, work for a company called Cognizant and receive about $28,000 per year to police the site as part of Facebook's 2-year, $200 million contract with the tech giant. So, Keith Utley, a former Coast Guard lieutenant commander who worked an overnight shift moderating content at one of Cognizant's sites in Tampa, Florida, faced that same pressure to meet the accuracy target in removing content that is in violation. Well, the night of March 9th, Utley slumped over at his desk. His colleagues reportedly performed CPR, but by the time ambulance arrived, the 42-year-old had already begun turning blue. He died shortly thereafter in hospital. Utley's death is one of several horror stories current and former moderators share with people. At least 3 broke their non-disclosure agreements in order to do so. It's terrible. So, one employee, 23-year-old Sean Spiegel, made $15 an hour, moderating between 100 and 200 posts per day. Some of what he told this article, he had to watch puppies being thrown into a raging river, teenagers smashing an iguana onto the ground to kill it, putting lit fireworks into dogs' mouths, chopping off a cat's face with a hatchet. For our associates, he went on to say, who opt to work in content moderation, we are transparent about the work they will perform, a Cognizant spokesman said. They are made aware of the nature of the role before, during, and during the hiring process, and then given extensive specific training before work projects. Why do they got to watch the whole video? Like, the minute you see something stupid, why not just block it? But for $28,000 a year, does not seem worth it. Does not seem worth it. Here's a cool one. In Maryland, an insect-eating plant has been found for the first time. So apparently, they have discovered this plant called a dwarf sundew, the smallest native species of sundew in the United States. It was found in open areas with wet, peaty sand near the Nassawango Creek in Worcester County. The department says that this is the first record of the plant growing in the state, which has other species of sundew. Would they just move in? Oh, we're coming. Sure, no problem. Yeah, here's a nice rock. We'll just clamp on here. The plant isn't the same as a Venus flytrap, but both are carnivorous. Maryland is home to about 20 types of carnivorous plants. Cool. I was watching that the other night on YouTube, watching how these plants can eat like bugs and stuff, frogs, flies. It's pretty cool. All right. Over in Vietnam, the government is forming a team of experts that includes several Russian scientists to help preserve the embalmed corpse of founding leader Ho Chi Minh. The team is tasked with proposing scientific measures to indefinitely preserve the body of the former communist leader who died half a century ago. Each year, thousands view Ho's body, which is displayed inside a glass coffin in a mausoleum in Vietnam's capital, Hanoi. Using science from the former Soviet Union's Lenin lab, which embalmed the body of communist revolutionary Vladimir Lenin in 1924, other countries have done along the same thing, including Hugo Chavez, Joseph Stalin, Kim Jong-il, and Mao Zedong. The Vietnamese have mastered mummifying, according to the report, but Russian scientists regularly help the government with maintenance of the body, a chemical process that used to be a Soviet secret, much like the herbs and spices at KFC. North Korea's Kim Jong-un paid his respects to Ho during a visit to Vietnam in March as well. Finally, we'll get to the finally here. People literally find all sorts of things when the beach starts to shut down. Money, jewelry, seashells, crabs. Well, down in Florida, you might even find an alligator. But this one has got Florida police a little weirded out. The Holmes Beach Police Department is looking for the owner of a prosthetic ear that was found this past Saturday. Holmes Beach is a small town in Manatee County. On its Facebook page Tuesday, the department posted 2 photos of the ear. The post has more than 1,500 shares, more than 100 comments. "Have you lost an ear?" the police department wrote. This prosthetic ear was found at the Manatee Beach. Turns out Holmes Beach has a lot more visitors than usual over the weekend because it hosted a special event. The left-sided rubber aid was found in the sand during the World's Strongest Man competition. Nobody, has admitted to losing the ear just yet. Let's get to the thought of the day. Those things are like $4 to $8 grand, by the way. A replacement ear. They aren't cheap. Wow. Thought of the day happens every day at this time, where we post a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Has paranormal and the cryptid world taken an unfair backseat to UFOs over the last 18 months? Lots of action on this one. One of my favorites, William Pullen, Power Goatee. No. That's all he said. No. Debbie followed up with a no. I need some words here. Give me an explanation. Francesca, no. But why are uncertain UFO topics, or make that why are certain UFO topics being intertwined with paranormal? I realize some people report UFO and turns out to be paranormal. Connecting those things seems like a stretch. Daryl, yeah. It is like going to an event and police officer stops you to let some politician in ahead of you. Drives me nuts. Chrisomania. Let me tell you something, brother. TTSA, brother. Anyways, Chrisomania says, no, get out there and hustle, investigators. Tom, as for the cryptid community, it is only necessary to be patient. Revelations of UFOs will trigger discussions of so many other things, with cryptids being one of them. There will even be a portion of crossover discussions. Continue doing your research, and the world will eventually come to you. Tim, not from listening here and other podcasts, seems to be the same. More emphasis, reports, stories on bipedal canines. Hashtag Butch Witkowski. James, not at all. Sylvia, yes. Marty, our favorite veteran. Like the old song says, to everything there is a season. UFOs are in vogue right now, but ghosts were all the rage a couple of years ago, and Bigfoot before that. In a way, it is a good thing that each subject takes a turn in the spotlight. Soon enough, some other part of the paranormal world will be the hot topic for a while, then rinse and repeat. Renee, yes, I believe it has. Lately, it is UFOs this and UFO that. Sad, really, because the paranormal world is more than just UFOs and or Bigfoot. Now, risking being glared at and lectured here even lately. That is all it is on SOR. Sorry, Dave, in brackets. I think the UFO and Bigfoot discussion is being oversaturated, to be honest, and it seems the same things are being repeated over and over with different views and thoughts. However, it is becoming the same cog wheel. I like that comment, Renee. I'll do better. Brian, no, not at all. Correlation to UFO and or light sightings pre- and post-cryptid encounters is on the rise. Thus, the connection is there for this subject. Anyone who thinks one is taking a backseat to another is not doing proper research. This is why we, at the New York State UFO Project, cover the gambit. There is a relationship to UFOs and cryptids. Kim, no, I think it's fair. Come up with some great proof from the ghost camp. That might swing the pendulum a bit. Kelly and Kelly's beard. I don't think it has. Have they ever really been equal? Probably not. However, I don't think this is a flap. I just think now that we have people coming out with evidence and papers getting dropped, it would just seem to be that way. When was the last time we had a good Bigfoot video, a good ghost video? Ufology may be the hot button ticket right now, and I think it's making more people look into the skies. Final word goes to Mr. Goofon, little Richie G. No way. If there was something interesting about or new discoveries, they get some airtime too. Everything is taking a back seat to the UFO craze right now. Be prepared because the UFO craze will be around a long while. I have a feeling. That is very true. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Dave. Big thanks to Captain Shirk for putting our news together on the SOR Newswire, which can be found at spacedoutradio.com and our new look website that is currently being built by the Gavinator. Big thanks to Dave Spinks. Dave Spinks, paranormalinvestigator.com is his website, for telling us about everything we talked about tonight, the alien autopsy video, his time in Phoenix during the Phoenix Lights, Willows Weep haunted house in Indiana that he owns. Love Dave Spinks. We got to do another show with him very, very soon. Tomorrow night on the show, Jeremy Puma joins us from Seattle. We're going to talk liminal Earth. What does that mean? I don't know. We'll find out together tomorrow night, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, in our chat rooms, on Twitter, wherever you may be. Remember, Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures have this show and others all copyright, so do be careful with that. Thank you so much for being with us, making us bigger and better every single night. Because together, my friends, say it with me, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Let's finish off the week strong. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Good night.